Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is Thursday night time for another episode of Thrifty Business. I'm your one host, Jason Thrifts, and with me, no, it is not the Heat Miser. It is my friend and yours, Becky at Sassy Frog Vintage. How are you, Becky?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am great. When we first got on to get the show ready, Becky's hair was all down and nice. I go, oh, no hair. And she's like, hang on a minute.
Wait.
Putting product in my hair. I miss those days. Oh. All right. So my computer just got to the shop, but I'm running everything off the laptop. I think it's going to work. So we are prepped and ready. And so without further ado, let's get it going. Now it's time for Jay's Tiki Talk. Each week, I drink a different rum out of a different tiki mug and try and match it up to my guest. And our guest tonight is Alan Cohen. How are you, Alan?
I'm doing very well. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks both of you for hanging out with me on Sunday talking about the moronicy. Is that a word? That was my cassette tape debacle with eBay. But Alan is here tonight to talk about being a longtime eBayer, and I got questions for him. If y'all have any questions, we will get to those. And Alan lives in the Portland area, so any excuse to drink rum straight from Portland. This is an amazing spiced rum, Below Deck. It's a little small distillery up in Portland, and this is from the Alibi, which is a long time tiki place in Portland since 1947. So basically about how long Alan's been selling on eBay. So cheers to you, sir.
Thank you.
Cheers. I'm just drinking straight up fruit punch from Walmart. No,
what you got tonight, Alan? Anything?
Just a cup of coffee in my Route 66 mug. That was a failed trip. I got snowed out on Route 66 in December, but I got the mug.
Nice.
And were the mermaids not there?
Nobody was there except the snow.
All right. Alan's only been selling 3 more years than me, but has 3 times as many feedbacks. We're going to find out how that happened and more in a little bit. So sit back and relax, and Becky and I are going to share some goodies. All right. Bear with me because the laptop's a tad smaller than my desktop computer. I need that, and I need...
Should I sing songs while you're...
Nope, I got it. Here we go. Ready? And here we go. And now it's time for our scores of the week. These are the items that you should be on the lookout for when you're out thrifting.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, then I got the wrong picture up there. There we go.
I was like, I sold the butt. I love this mug. It's a cute little 3D hedgehog coffee mug that I found. I think I got it at Goodwill for like $1 or $2. And she needed to have it. So I took her best offer. She said, can I have it for $19? And I said, yes, you can. So I sent it off.
Adorbs.
Yes. And I sold these for $32. I got them in a box from one of the Goodwill shoe boxes. And they actually sold fairly quickly. I had them listed for a couple of weeks for $42. She sent me an offer and we countered back and forth a little bit and we settled on $32. And I think he was actually working in Texas because he said, please do this address. And when he paid, it was the address he had messaged me.
Nice.
And I got great feedback from him as well.
Awesome. What? You sold a tiki mug?
What?
Or 2
or 4. I found these at Goodwill. They were $2 a piece, and I actually left them and went back the next day. I messaged you about them. I was like, would you take these? Would you go back and get them? And you said yes. So I went back the next day, and they were still there. So I picked them up, and I sold both pair for $22 each. So not too shabby.
Well done. Well done. Look at this gloriousness.
My little Pyrex bowls. I loved those things. I got great feedback from those as well. I started the auction, I think, at $99. And well, you can see the bids got up to $230. And I have another set of Cinderella bowls. And in the set of Cinderella bowls I actually found the biggest casserole dish. I think the guy thought that that the big casserole dish was part of the Cinderella bowls, but they're not. So now I have a great big casserole dish with no lid. So, but that's
Make
okay.
the biggest casserole you can. Nice
Yes.
scores. All right, let me knock mine out. Lisa Boland's in the chat. Snowing a ton where she lives. Stacy and I were in Salt Lake City the last couple of days, snowing there. But the rest of the southern half of the states is all nice and warm. And yet just sold this really heavy duty wool, alpaca wool poncho just this week. So look, we're coming out of winter. This almost was my out of season, but I picked this up for $8.99 and sold it for $70. And I had a live model just so you can see it a little better on a mannequin. It wouldn't look good.
No, those ponchos are awesome. My mom used to knit and crochet, and she made those, and they're awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I showed this on the tees. I don't know crap about anime, but I know to look it up when I find it. This VHS tape was $2.99. And yes, I sold it for $150 for a VHS tape. Wow. Do you believe?
I definitely believe.
And look, you can sell things you don't know or understand because I don't know what the hell Fire Emblem is, but I know it looked good and I know how to scan. All right, now this is a very sad one. I bought this poster at the Foo Fighters concert, and Taylor Hawkins sadly passed away, and so I was going to sell it anyway. I just hadn't gotten around to it. So as soon as he passed, I put it up and sold it for $170. They were selling it at the concert for $45. So you've got to look for sourcing opportunities everywhere you go. We found a sourcing opportunity at the concert Stacy and I was at in Salt Lake City. And as soon as it sells, I'll let you know what it was.
Nice.
How about a little, you sold the Tiki mug? I sold the Tiki mug. How about a little Elvis? Bought this on eBay for $125 and sold it on eBay for $220.
Wow.
That is how you do it. Oh, thank you, Andrew, Knick-Knack Twin. Fire Emblem is a Nintendo game series. Yeah, so you can buy on eBay with the same ID you sell the same item on, just with better title, better photos, and the right price.
Mm-hmm. I would love that Elvis Tiki mug.
Whoops, I just jumped ahead. Pretend you don't see that. Hold, please. And now it's time for our CD and cassette scores of the week. And as always, we start with flipping cassettes. All right, Allison Chains, used cassette, $35. Do you believe?
Amen. My hair believes.
Your hair does believe. And before you ask, yes, we changed the case. We just take the pictures quick before we change out the cases. And so that was like 50 cents or $1 from some garage sale. So yeah, $35 for a cassette. Now, all right, Becky, have you ever heard of Max Links?
I want to say yes, but no.
No, I don't know it either. Now, the reason I've had a bunch of record sales in the last couple of weeks, and some better than this, but I wanted to put this one in for one funny reason. The customer was very specific, asking me about any pops and clicks or, skips in the vinyl. And when someone asked me specific, I have a stereo over here that has 8-track cassette and a record player. And so I'm going to listen to it to make sure I can give an honest answer. And this is hair metal from the 80s. It is probably the worst hair metal I have ever heard. Like your friend's band in high school that was okay. These guys are worse. And they actually got a record out.
Wow.
The music starts, the instruments start, and it's pretty good. And then the singer starts, and I'm like, I have to listen to a whole album of this, but I have to give him the honest, feedback. And then he bought it. And so luckily my listening paid off, but yikes. But when you find that rare hair metal from the 80s, especially so rare, no one's ever heard of it, that's the kind of stuff that gets big money, because when people want it nowadays, it's impossible to find.
This is true.
Where is there it is. And now we go from flipping cassettes to flipping CDs. Okay, before I advance onto the CDs, I said this in the tease today. In the last 2 weeks, I have had a good handful, 5, 6, 7, 8 CDs that have sold in the $70 to $80 range, and they didn't make the cut this week. They did not. $80 was that was nothing this week.
Wow.
It was crazy. If you don't believe yet, maybe you'll believe after these 5, and I had to go 5 because they're nuts. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot Becky had something this week. My bad.
I finally sold a CD this week. Oh my gosh. Yep, they wanted it. And he paid for first class shipping. So
nice. Grateful Dead, $24. But not only that, how about empty CD cases?
empty. Yeah, I was hoping I would get more for those, but for as little as I paid for all of those boxes, I'm happy. I'm happy with $100.
Now, if we have any youngins in the viewing audience like Andrew and Aaron, when CDs first came out, record stores were only able to accommodate records, so they stuck CDs in these long cardboard boxes so they didn't have to buy new racks. And then finally someone said, hey, why are you killing so many trees? And then they got rid of long boxes and built CD racks. But a lot of long boxes will bring good money. Do I listen to the CDs all the way through? Heck no. You know how many CDs I've sold in 22 years? About 200,000. Times that by about 60 minutes. That's a lot of hours. Hours that don't exist in anyone's lifetime. So nope, you just got to visually look them over. Dang, Todd's got 100 long boxes to list. Oh my God.
Wow. You better get listening, son.
All right. Who remembers the Bugaloos? The Bugaloos. The Bugaloos. Here and there and everywhere. I think that's how it went. Paid $25 for the soundtrack to the TV show The Bugaloos, which was a Sid and Marty Krofft show, and sold it for $100, and that wasn't the best of the week. The Torquays are a surf band. This I paid $5 for, and it sold also for $100.
Damn.
Well, if the long boxes are sealed, yes, you don't need to check the CDs. If the long boxes aren't sealed, yes, then check the CDs for sure. How about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers? This is a gold disc. I spent $40 and sold it for $111. But Becky, that's not the best yet.
What?
How about the soundtrack to the movie Clute? I paid $13 and I sold it for $125.
Oh.
But wait, Becky, that's not the best yet either.
What? Wait. More?
How about the Prince box set used for $300? I did pay $100 for it, but I knew I could get $300. If you don't believe yet, what are you waiting for? Okay, if we got any naysayers in the chat, how many more kick-ass scores can I share with you before you're like, I should get into this?
My hair believes totally.
Believes.
It's up there.
Believes.
Jesus said, sell music.
So, yes, please, if you haven't taken my courses, and I got a new one coming out next month, so stay tuned for the sign up for that. More good teachings about flipping CDs. And now it's time for our duds of the week. Do not let our mistakes be yours.
Ugh, this book. I got it for a few cents. I thought it was fun because it was an old library book. And it's been on, I think I've had it listed since 2019, maybe longer. And somebody offered me $7 for it. So I said, sold.
So basically it was a Debbie.
It was a, yes. And oh my God, I got a grandma, a dad, and a mom. And I finally sold all 3, I believe now. Yeah, grandma. And it got there okay, and I FOMO'd it.
Well, now, we did not plan this, so I'm glad to hear that you say you FOMO'd this, because I sold this tiki mug, which was also FOMO'd, and here's the end result.
Wah, wah.
So look, I am always happy to share my successes, my tips, my tricks, how to make money, how to kind of game the system, and it'll fail every once in a blue moon. Not just FOMO, but everything else. You know, if you're trying out something new and fancy, it might fail you. It failed me, and I felt horrible. But I haven't had a FOMO fail in over 9 years. So the amount of money I've saved me and or my customer was definitely worth it to have one fail that was mass produced. Yes, a rare occurrence that I had an extra of, and just maybe you might see the feedback from this customer coming up in a segment in a few minutes. Because it happens. It happens. But guess what? I didn't stop FOMOing because of it. Shit happens sometimes. You just roll on and get back to work. Now, did Zoe not make the cardboard tight enough? Was there a crack we didn't know about? There are variables that could happen. So it did, and I don't mind sharing with it because I'm very open and honest about all the things I share with y'all. And now it's time for Where in the World Did Our Stuff Go? If you are not shipping internationally, you are leaving out 7.3 billion with a B potential customers.
Dun, da, da, da. This went to the UK. Is that Lymington? Yes.
Yep.
To Lymington, British, wherever it is. The United Kingdom. You can tell I'm not from there.
Yeah. And yes, I did FOMO a square mug. I FOMOed that mug 100 times, and so for whatever weird reason, 101 failed. So shit happens. All right. I'm going to try and zoom in so I can show you the item. One of the things that you should always keep your eyes out, here's a bonus bolo, crew shirts from touring, especially local crew, because they'll have the crew that travels with them, and then they need local crew to unload and load trucks, and they get t-shirts too. So when the guy in charge can stand up in the stands and he can see, okay, the guys in orange are local, the guys in blue are the crew that travel with us. This was from the Iron Maiden, the Book of Souls tour, and so the crew shirts are never sold, obviously. So this one is on its way to Obenberg, which is about 42 minutes south of Frankfurt.
Ooh.
Was your mug made by Susan Sarandon?
It was for something special. It was she did it like children's miracle work, something sort of like that, whatever it takes.
Very cool. Yeah, I totally missed that. I didn't. Woo.
Yeah, it was definitely a specialty mug for something that was going on. If awesome. I can, I'll look it up really quick after. Dang it.
And now it's time for You Have Got to Be Shipping Me. What to do and what not to do when it comes to shipping. All right, Debbie's graphics.
Styrofoam plates. So when you're packing something breakable and it's got a lid to it, a lot of people will put like a little bit of bubble wrap and then a piece of cardboard in between. I have switched to using styrofoam plates instead, and it's so much easier. I might do one or two depending on how breakable I think it is. But I still put the bubble wrap, but then I'll put 2 plates, and then I'll put the top on, and then I shrink wrap that, and it's, oh my gosh. This is how I wrap my stuff now. And if you can see, I've got 2 plates in there, and I stick them on, and then bubble wrap everything together, and then shrink wrap it. And
beautiful.
I haven't had any trouble yet. No breaking, no breakage.
I love it.
Yeah, and then I don't have to find old boxes that I don't need to try to figure out, to get a square of corrugated cardboard. So
yeah, I called the teenager cutting up a good box the other day. I go, what are you doing? That's a good box. No cutting of good boxes. We cut the shit boxes.
Exactly.
All right, so y'all remember my fiasco with eBay and my cassette, which did sell for $600 to a customer directly in the UK. And I discovered a service I had not used yet, and that is UPS Worldwide Saver. It is up to 75% off retail rates when you use Pirate Ship. And I was able to send that cassette from Vegas to London. It left here at 11 a.m. Well, I dropped it off, I should say. I dropped it off at the UPS store at 11 a.m. time on Monday. At 9 a.m. my time on Wednesday, the customer said, I got it. It was to his house in less than 48 hours, and it only cost me $30.
That just kind of blows my mind right now.
Yeah, and so UPS is like, hey, back up, everybody. We got this. So they're doing some kick-ass service around the world, and it ain't expensive. Now, if you go ship a brick, it'd be a different story. But we all sell a lot of things that we can hold in our hand, are like nice and small. So definitely use that service when you want to have a leg up on your competition.
Sweet.
Yeah, hell yeah. That was I was very excited, and so was the customer, obviously.
Yes.
And now it's time for the Thrifty Tips of the Week. Little tips and tricks to help you out when you're outsourcing.
Don't forget about looking for color tags when you go to your favorite thrift store. I went to St. Vincent de Paul a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't been in quite a while, so I totally forgot that they actually did this. They didn't do not one, not two, but 3 different colors for the.
Yeah,
like,
some do.
I think they do it for like the month. So like blue was like 20% off, yellow is like 30% off, and then orange is 50% off, whatever, but it goes up in increments. So always double check what color the tags are when you walk into the store. And if you forget, just ask a worker, or sometimes another shopper will tell you. So I love it. Oh, and then
all right. So, I tried to emulate my mother, Becky, and it didn't work. So see this mug right here that the person, their whole title was ceramic tiki mug. That's it. Not the manufacturer. They didn't bother to look up the name. This mug routinely sells for about $175. Now, it would have been a sweet deal to get it at 30. I tried to get it at 25 and I lost out. So in my head, my mom's going, I don't care if it's a good deal. Try and get a better deal. So I did. And in the meantime, someone else snagged it for 30. Now, what's crazy is the person who snagged it for 30 posted about it in one of my tiki groups today. And he didn't say what he paid for it, but everyone's like, oh, nice mug. I go, yeah, nice $30 score. And the seller shipped the mug kind of FOMO without any of the padding. Just dropped it in a regular Tyvek priority envelope with no padding. And they did free priority shipping, and the shipping cost them $16.10. They sold the mug for $30. So essentially, that seller is just giving it away. So the tip is, when the deal is good, get Peggy out of your head and just take it.
Not plus, a Peggy quarter.
The funny thing is, we should have done this show on Sunday. That guy was basically rubbing it in my face, even though he didn't know he was, today on the Facebook group. And I'm like, that was going to be mine.
Yeah. Well, if you had gotten it, Murphy's Law would have said it would have arrived broken if that's how it was packaged.
Yeah. I FOMO with cardboard and bubble, and it don't make it. This dude just throws it in an envelope and it made it. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
That's why the mine breaking was just a rando thing,
Yeah.
Just happened. And now it's time for our online selling tips of the week. It doesn't matter if you're selling on Etsy, Depop, Mercari, Poshmark, or eBay. These are little tips and tricks to help you when you're selling.
I don't remember what my tip was. As soon as something sells, go to and if you don't have Vendu or one of the other, selling app help thingies, don't forget to end the listing on other platforms. Even if I know for sure that it's not, if I sold something on eBay, I will still go check my Depop, my Poshmark, my Facebook, just to double check every place I sell to make sure that I've ended that listing or made it available.
Yeah. The other day I sold a Christmas t-shirt and Zoe was in Etsy and she scrolled on past. I went, oh, whoops. Get that off of there, please. Whoops.
Oops.
All right. So speaking of apps and stuff, here's a weird one, Beck. See this mug right here?
Yeah.
So I have 3 and I had it cross-posted. I had it on Mercari and I had it on eBay and I think I had it someplace else. And because I used Together and Bonanza, it was in a lot of places. So had three, hadn't sold in a long time. Sold a Macari. 12 hours later, it sold on eBay. And all that same day, a person on Instagram said, "Hey, is this your listing? Can I buy it from you, pay you half now and half next week?" So essentially, I sold all three of the same mug in about 24 hours on 3 different platforms. But my tip for online selling is if you do utilize, if you're on social media, kind of like I am and Becky is to a degree, people are going to be messaging you. And so if you don't keep up with your request, because that's where this person was, that request was 6 days old. Luckily, she didn't buy from anybody else yet. But I wasn't keeping up on what they call the requests. People who aren't yet in your network end up in their request tabs. They always got to check their request tab. Usually it's bullshit. Usually it's spam. But in this case, it was a woman who wanted to buy this for her boyfriend and see if I would break up the payments into 2 weeks. I said, sure, no problem. Look, I'm all about the customer. Whatever you want to send me money and it'll take 2 weeks. I don't care.
Amen. Well, I'm glad you had multiples of the same thing so that where it all sold, you weren't screwed on any of them.
But amazing. Crazy that 3 of them sold on 3 platforms in like 24 hours. Just absolutely crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now I need more because now I'm out of them. Boo. Good problem to have when you run out of stock.
Yeah.
So many. And now it's time for Unseasonably Sold. What did you sell out of season? All right, Beck. It has been mad dash for Christmas stuff. Every day I'm selling Christmas clothes or Christmas CDs. And of course, I was going to pull one of them. And then this Mardi Gras Bud Light flag sold 3 weeks after Mardi Gras. So that's way more out of season than Christmas stuff. We're working our way towards Christmas, but Mardi Gras just happened. And I had this up well before Mardi Gras and thought, oh, well, it'll be sitting there until next Mardi Gras. Boom, sold. So that's why we encourage you to sell or list and sell everything all year round, because someone in April needed a Mardi Gras flag.
That's true. I didn't have anything unseasonably sold. I
know. You got to get your stuff up.
Well, I need to get more stuff up because, I got enough stuff. I just need to get it listed.
Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're angry, and sometimes they're just plain weird. Now it's time for the feedback of the week.
Oops.
Let me make it a little bit bigger so we can read it.
Isn't that precious? I really want to get that printed on a t-shirt and just wear it around. Adorable.
Communicated above and beyond. Now, I agree that's awesome because I had another one all prepped for the show, but then today I got the feedback on the broken mug. Now here is prime example why you take care of your customers. And I think Alan's going to echo the sentiment. If you take care of your customers, I'll take care of you. He got a broken mug in the mail, yet this is his feedback. 10-star seller. Item was packed very well. Liar. Fast shipping too. Thank you. Easily the best seller on eBay. Because you know what I did? I said, here's another one. I sent him one right away. If I didn't have one, I would have refunded him. And I said, hey, can you hold on to that? I'm going to try and file a claim. He said, yeah, no problem. And he gave me glowing feedback. He got a broken item in the mail, yet I have won him over as a lifetime customer because I took care of him. I didn't screw around. I answered him right away, apologized right away, and I got on with life. And he wasn't mad. It came like that. Now, just to make sure, we sent the next one in a box just to make sure, but he's happy. So keep your customers happy and they will take care of you.
That is true.
All right, let's do a little housekeeping. Then we'll get Alan in here. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, no. Okay, I'm good. All right, so Beck, what is this?
That is a monthly vintage market that I do every third Sunday of the month at this vintage place called Revival Vintage. So if you're in Austin or in the surrounding area, you should come check us out. Follow them at Revival Sunday Market for updates. And they've got some fantastic things in the store. They sell clothing, furniture, knickknacks, all kinds of stuff. They even sell plants. They've got some
Awesome.
really rad stuff, and there's going to be some amazing vendors. And it's this Sunday from 12 to 4. I know it's Easter Sunday, but apparently everybody has forgotten about that holiday. And I'm talking to the Christians. So if you're tired of ham and you need to get out of the house,
tell your family, bye, Swoop.
yeah, bye, Swoops. It's always a fun day.
All right, so spring seller update came out yesterday, today, whatever. I finally was able to sit and collect my thoughts, and I have a nice post in the thrifting board. So if you're not on the thrifting board, come on over. There wasn't anything major in this update. I mean, good things are coming, but they're taking a little too long to get here. But there is a post. You know, I want to hear all your comments, your questions, your criticisms, your applause, whatever it is. So if you want to chat about the spring seller update, come on over to the thrifting board and hop onto that post that has this graphic on it. And now normally, for those of you who may be new, I have switched to doing my how-to videos on Thursday night in this time slot, and then alternating Sundays doing thrifty business and selling past your expiration date, being thrifty over 50. Because of computer failure and things like that, we're doing thrifty business tonight. But my how-to videos are shorter videos. They're a specific topic. So when you say, hey, how do I do this? You can watch it. It's like anywhere from like 10 to 18 minutes. And then boom, just get all the content you need and none of me and Becky's shenanigans. So last week, come on, was how to ship CDs and cassettes. It's somewhat easy. But there is a little bit of skill set to it. And I also use some cellophane like Becky used. So if you haven't watched that one yet, watch them. Now do me a favor. If you have a friend that's selling online and they want to know how to FOMO a tiki mug properly or ship a cassette or figure out how much their time is worth, send them the link to the videos from my YouTube channel. Now, coming up this Thursday, so a week from today, how to sell a Macari. If you have not started selling a Macari yet, you are leaving out a lot of business. The bummer is Macari is only domestic, only United States. But the good thing is it is way easier to list on Macari than eBay. It's not all convoluted and weird. But they also use hashtags. So if you're unfamiliar with what to do with hashtags, or if you've never listed on Macari, I'm going to demonstrate really how quick and easy it is. And you know, I don't list as much stuff on Macari as I do on eBay, but I do have quite a bit up there, and I have really good sales. So next week will be kind of a start to finish, a step-by-step how to list on Macari. Okay, so because it's Easter Sunday this week, we asked the audience, do you guys want a late evening Easter show or a Monday show? Y'all, most of you said Monday. So Mom and I are going to be here on Monday, selling past your expiration date, being thrifty over 50. Mom wants to teach us about red ware pottery. Now, Becky, I had no clue what red ware pottery is, but when Mom sent me this picture, these are all dishes I know from my mom's house being on display for the past 50 years. So I did know what it was. I just didn't know the term. So Mom is going to educate us on that because she does tend to find it here, there, and everywhere. And then, yay, Secret Beach, I got the month set up for the webinars. All right. Why did Jason thrift all this art? Since we talked about last month in the Secret Beach or 2 months ago, how to ship art, I have now gathered every piece of art I have thrifted in the last 3 years. I'm going to start listing it, but I'm going to explain every piece of art I grabbed, why I grabbed it, and what I paid, and what it's going to sell for. So if you've not done art yet, if you haven't looked in the art section, I got you covered. So this will be Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, April 19th at 8 p.m. East Coast. And then Chris Green, my man, is our guest this month for the Secret Beach, sharing your expertise with the world like he does. He wants to educate everyone else, me, Becky, Alan, everyone else. If you have that itch to teach, to share, this is how you should do it. So Chris is going to kind of give us the how-to, and that'll be on Saturday, April 30th. Time coming soon. All right. Whoops. Let's get Alan in here, shall we? Maybe. There we go. And now it's time for the Thrifty Business special guest of the week. Boom. Alan Cohen, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. And I love Mercari. Mercari is my eBay Vero marketplace.
Yes, I call Macari eBay Junior.
If I know it's going to be pulled on eBay like Beachbody or Rosetta Stone, Macari's your place, and it sells. So I'm happy.
Oh yeah. So hey, before we get into important stuff, have you been to the Alibi?
I have not been to the Alibi.
It's been there since '47, and you haven't been there yet?
I haven't. I've only gone to tiki bars with you.
All right, next time I'm in town, because it's vintage, obviously 47, and the decor is amazing. And the first time I went there, the drinks were so bad. My buddy and I, who he owns another bar in Portland, we couldn't finish our Mai Tais. And look, I've drank some bad drinks in my life. It was that bad I wouldn't finish it. And then finally they said, look, your bar looks good, and you bring the customers in. Why not have at least decent drinks, if not, amazing? And they said, you're right. So they changed their drink program, and they make decent drinks now. And then they start doing fun mugs. So
Very cool.
All right, Alan. What do you know that? What do you have the exact date? The first day you sold on eBay?
Yeah, I'll have to look. It's in March of 1997. So I think it's like March 9th, maybe.
And I'm March of 2000. So you got me by exactly 3 years. And Becky, what's yours?
I started April, I think, of 99.
Okay. All right. So here's my conundrum. You only got me by 3 years, yet I have 20,000 feedback. How many do you have?
I think that eBay account has a little over 64,294, but I actually have what I consider two main eBay accounts. I have another account that has, and I just looked, 58,415.
So
I didn't realize. Wait, I couldn't even process that number. How much?
Yes. So now he has 120,000 feedbacks. He's only been doing this 3 years longer than me.
Yeah, that account I started, I think, in 2001. And the reason I wish I could put everything in one account, and I've tried in the past, because I've been heavy into media items. So I have one account that focuses almost completely on media items. I use an inventory management system, and it cross-posts. It used to cross-post to half.com when that was around, but it cross-posts to Amazon, eBay, lots of smaller marketplaces too. And I run that separately from my main eBay account, which I don't use the cross-post.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, that amount of feedback.
I'm speechless. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that.
Well, I keep busy, and I know you want to know, well, how did I do it? I think part of it is just because when I started, my main account is Card Mall, so I was selling cards. And one of the reasons I sold cards is, well, I was been in the cards for a long time. I mean, I was actually selling cards online back in the 1980s before there was an online, using BBS systems and my Commodore 64 with its tape drive and 300 baud modem. But I didn't have a digital camera. I had a scanner. So back then, of course, those that were on eBay in the 90s, pictures were not required. But if you have pictures, your items, I felt, sold better. So I focused heavily on cards because I could scan them with a scanner. And then I got into media a couple of years later. And so, especially if you were selling in the early 2000s, VHS, then DVDs and CDs, super huge sellers on eBay and Amazon and Half and all the other, even Barnes and Noble. So I think it's the items that I sold had just such a high turnover. Plus, media and even sports cards were just easier to list, especially with inventory management program where I literally scan the UPC code and almost everything else is done. I can list. It's more complicated now because eBay has all these item specifics that we never used to have. But I could go and list 100 CDs in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
It's crazy how easy, even when the specifics on CDs aren't too bad, but how quick you can get CDs done.
Yeah.
It's insane. Because when I would have contests with friends, and I'm like, all right, who can list 20 things in an hour? And I'm like, all right, I'm at 42 in like 37 minutes. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm listing CDs. They don't take any time, really.
Yeah, and they don't take a lot of space. So I can put 150 CDs in a banana box, and sometimes a banana box with some of the larger eBay things I sell, it's only going to hold a few things. So I can have a lot more inventory. And, I still sell plenty of CDs and DVDs. You'll see, I think one of my hits was a DVD that I sold.
Yep.
But it's, I love media, but I've expanded to a lot of other things as well.
So I want to point out that Lisa said she started her eBay career in spring of 2021, and she has 13 feedback. And I want to point that out because the mighty oak is once an acorn first, or where that saying goes. Every great journey starts with the first step. So we were all that first step. Now, the three of us here, we are that first step a long time ago. Our first steps are now legal to drink. So, but it doesn't mean you can't have that first step today. We all get to this point of selling online for different reasons at different times in our life. Mine was because I got laid off from a job I loved and I wasn't sure how I was going to make money. I taught myself to sell CDs online. So what prompted you, Alan? Did you have a regular job when you started your eBay journey?
Yeah. So before eBay, I started my own business when I was 13 years old. I was selling baseball cards at flea markets, and I moved to doing mail order, doing classified ads, and that eventually went to the BBSs. And even in the early 90s, the Usenet news groups were something that I used a lot as well. So I saw a post about, I've been on eBay since 1995, and it's like I knew about eBay in 1995, but these didn't actually join because I was selling on Yahoo auction sites. Everything was auction, and they didn't really have a lot of fixed price stuff. But there were lots of other companies doing it, and I was also running, and I was working full time at this time too. I was running a web design and promotion business, and in late 1996, eBay placed a banner ad with me. And so I'm thinking, I better sign up for them. I knew about them, but you got to remember, back in 95 and even 96, eBay was just one player in a field where there were lots of different players and even bigger players. Yahoo definitely was much bigger than eBay in 1996. And so because they basically paid me to advertise on my website, I'm like, well, I better sign up with them. So I did. And I started selling on them on the site, and literally like a year later, none of the other sites even existed. It was amazing how eBay expanded and just took over everything. So I was working full time. I had worked at Cornell University when I lived in New York, moved to California in '96, got a job at UCLA, where I graduated from, where I'm wearing my shirt from. And so I was working full time. I was doing a web-based business part-time and an online sales business part-time as well. I went to full-time in 2001. At that point, my wife got a job here in Oregon. So I left UCLA. We had two small kids at the time, 4 and 1.5. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go full-time. We had the benefit of her having insurance, so that makes a pretty big difference.
That's the big part of this. If you have a spouse that has insurance, it makes the leap so much easier.
And I couldn't. So when I was working at UCLA, I was actually making more money with my part-time ventures than I was working with my full-time job. But I couldn't quit because the insurance and all the other benefits were a factor. So once that got taken care of, I went full-time. So I've been doing it full-time since 2001.
That's awesome.
See, I had the mistaken impression that we still needed to have a real job, and I didn't get over that hump until 2009-ish or so. I mean, I'd sold the whole time, but I was like, okay, I have to go work here. So I was working, 50 hours a week at Tower and 60 hours a week selling hot tubs when I moved here. And so all that was time that should have been sold online, and maybe I could have 60,000 feedback too.
Yeah, and that definitely could be. For me, it was just a life situation where we had young kids, and it's like I found a solution that allowed me to not have to put the kids in daycare, which was more preferable. And my wife is a professor at a community college, so she had really great benefits. So that, it was just a life situation that made the jump from part-time to full-time. And I've never looked back.
Wow, that's
now
awesome.
If you like your day job, Becky, I assume you like yours, yeah?
For the most part, yes, but I can't do it forever.
True. So Becky, you do hair and makeup, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't stand behind the chair like I used to. I mean, I went self-employed in the hair industry back in 2001, and I gave up my private room when I got busy with doing hair and makeup for film and television. And the television gig is really what pays my most of my, my rent and my stuff. But I would love to be able to go full time reselling eventually, because body wise, after doing hair and makeup for 25 years, I don't want to stand behind the chair anymore. I'm tired. I like sitting.
Yeah, that's the thing about resale is every day is literally a brand new adventure. You never know what you're going to uncover. I'm excited to get started in the morning and do what I need to do. And so it's a great move, but you don't want to go into it without being prepared to go into it, just because giving up the job and the benefits and all that is challenging. But I'm glad it worked out for me.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can be forced out like I was, and that's how I figured out how to sell. And then when I made that full-time leap, I was working at a job I hated, and I got an infection in my arm. I ended up in the hospital for 5 days. And, sitting in a hospital for 5 days gives you lots of time to reevaluate your life. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't want to do a job I do not like anymore. It's soul sucking. I turned into it's time to make the donuts guy. I turned into him. And Stacy was like, my wife was like, you have to quit because you are miserable. And I just felt that you had to have a real job. And then I realized, reselling is a real job. And I don't know why me, of all people, couldn't get that in my brain. Couldn't get it.
Yeah, well, even 2009 was everything's way different back then to what it is today. I mean, the reselling community was considerably smaller. I mean, I think YouTube existed back then, but nobody was doing this stuff on YouTube back then. So it really was a lot more isolated, because even social media was pretty new in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I know in our chat right this moment live, I know Lisa's probably one of our freshest eBay sellers. What one or two things would you tell new sellers? Don't do this. I did this. Don't do this.
Yeah. Well, the one thing is, don't be careful about, you want to size up gradually and make sure you do everything right. It used to be more forgiving, you'd be able to make mistakes, but so much is metrics driven that you don't want to make those mistakes. If you're supposed to ship something in 2 days, you need to ship that in 2 days. You need to have a good inventory system so you can find items, because if you have to cancel sales because you can't find an item, that's going to create a world of problems. And once you get down that rabbit hole, it's hard to climb out of it. So you just need to don't get overwhelmed with what you're doing. You need to make sure you scale up correctly. And the second thing is that, I mean, the amount of resources that people have today are amazing. I mean, and I've told this to you before, Jason, as well. I had pretty high volume even 8 years ago, let's say in 2014, and I had moved beyond media in some extent. But I was watching Spike TV, and I found this show called Thrift Hunters, and that really opened my eyes as to, yeah, that was you, as to what more I can do. And back then, again, you didn't, even in 2014, there wasn't a lot of this even on YouTube. YouTube was where you put like funny films of stuff. I mean, my son had done like a Rickroll video. It's actually viral now. It has like 5.5 million views. But that's the kind of stuff you put on YouTube. You didn't have stuff like this. There's so much information. Of course, you have to sort out bad information from good information. You follow Jason, you're going to get good information. But you gotta sort out the good and bad. And there's just so much to learn. I still will go and watch shows just to learn what people are doing, and then try to learn more about an item. Every year I know more than the previous year. So you never get to the point, even though I've been doing online sales, at least since the early 1990s with Usenet news groups, which some of you probably have no idea what those are. But yeah, you always have to keep learning. You never stop.
Yeah, I had a teacher, and when I was in beauty school, that's what he said. He said, always stay green. Never stop learning, because once you think you know everything, you should probably retire. We never know everything. So
it's those sellers that we all run across when we're looking for something on eBay, and you get to the description and it's 17 different colors and there's pinwheels spinning and it says, don't buy from me if you have zero feedback, if you live in the South Arkansas, all these don'ts, that's a person that's been on for a long time and either never grew or just never cleaned up their listings.
Yeah, you don't need all that junk in there.
Well, it also,
look at that. My mom still learns at the ripe old age of just about 79. My mom's still learning every day.
Yeah, it amazes me sometimes, like the poor selling practices like that, which just like, well, why would I buy from you if you've given me a whole list, a hate list like that? So yeah, there's it even in 2022, it kind of surprises me that people still do that.
I mean, look, I sent a customer a broken mug essentially, and he gave me glowing feedback because I didn't hesitate in taking care of it. I said, that usually works just fine. You're like, I didn't say you're the first in like 9 years, but I'm like, I'm so sorry. Let me get you another one. And if you wouldn't mind, now, if he would have said, screw you, I'm throwing it away, I would have been like, that's fine. But he was nice enough to hold on to it. I'm gonna start the process tomorrow because I was out of town when he got it, but we shipped him a fresh one. And if I didn't have a fresh one, I would have just refunded his money with my deepest apologies and offered him 20% on whatever else he comes back and buys.
Yeah, no, you take care of your customers. You take care of your customers. That's gonna go a long way. And as you said, it can get customers for life as well. So absolutely agree.
Oh yeah, that guy that I tried to get that deal on that mug, and then the other guy got it. He mentions he has 20 of those mugs. Well, I reached out trying to buy the whole lot, never returned my message, and on the post that we're discussing it in Facebook, a couple other people noticed the same thing, and they reached out. He hasn't returned anyone's message.
Wow.
You have all these customers who are like, I'll take all your mugs, and he won't return one message.
How rude.
Can you imagine selling like that, Alan?
No, well, the thing is, you generally won't be selling if you don't engage the customers.
Exactly. So, do you leave feedback first for your customers?
Yeah, as soon as I don't know if it's either as soon as they buy or as soon as they pay, whatever it is. You don't hold feedback hostage. I don't understand, especially when you can only leave positive feedback. I don't understand sellers that wait until they've received feedback first. Why does it matter? I don't get it.
Yeah, I got no time because we can automate it. I got no time. I haven't worried about it. I mean, I've been automated, Alan, since whenever they automated it, and I haven't had to think about leaving feedback forever. It just gets done.
Yeah, and I automated it before they automated it because I was using inventory, listing tools that did that for me. And so, yeah, don't even give it any thought. Just it'll make the customers happy. And if there's a problem, you fix the problem. That's how you deal with it. You don't not leaving feedback makes no sense to me.
Okay.
Becky, do you work? Do you do hair and makeup every day, or like a few days a week, or what's the norm for you?
Right now it's kind of wedding season, so I've been working most Saturdays, and then I'll do things during the week sometimes. Like yesterday, I had two TV shots. So I was at the studio most of the mid morning and then most of the afternoon. And then there's days where I didn't have a single thing today, so I went to an estate sale.
There you go. But my point is, you've still got the real job, and so if there's anything that you can do with your online job that is automated, that's the goal. Always is to shave the time off, because when you have more time, you can either source more, list more, sell more, or the grand thing, spend more time with your loved ones or your pets or by yourself, just enjoying quiet. Whatever it is that you strive for, the more you can automate, the more you can be like, yes, my wife and I took off to go to a concert in the middle of the week in Salt Lake City, but we have the time to do that because I've set up my business that allows me to do that. And if I didn't, I'd be bummed. I didn't plan on going to a concert middle of the week. We bought the tickets in 2020. Hey, COVID. Hey.
Yeah, I'm always looking to optimize. Here's an example. I have a Samsung Galaxy camera, and it uses Dropbox. So when I take pictures, it gets automatically uploaded right to my computer. So when I am ready to list it, I use InkFrog as for a lot of my eBay inventory listing. And it could shave, even if it shaves 30 seconds off a listing. Well, you multiply that by 100 or 1,000 listings. That's a lot of time you get back. So I'm always looking at ways to automate and optimize that as well.
Good to know.
Yeah, because what seems like, okay, well, if I do it this way, it only saves me 5 seconds. Look at it through the three of our eyes. It's 5 seconds times how many over 25, 22, 20 years. Oh my God, that added up to like a week's vacation in Hawaii. That 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there. If you're new to it, you might be a big deal, 5 seconds. But when I list CDs, if I can do it a certain way where it cuts off 3 seconds per CD, I'm listing thousands a year, so that adds up really quick. And so you have to look at big picture always. You can't look at small picture in that moment. You gotta look at big picture. I use all Apple products, and we have 3 Apple computers in the office. I have my phone and my iPad, and we use my phone. And so when someone's taking pictures, who's ever listing, it's on all the computers in like 5 minutes. So, there's no time like waiting for shit. It's there. Grab and go. Keep on trucking. So that's the tips from us old timers. You got to figure out ways to cut time and keep your customers happy.
Yeah, and Tony asked in the chat if I'm a one-person operation. Essentially, I do have an assistant, and a fantastic assistant that helps with listing. So I certainly couldn't list as much without that person. And in the past, I've had multiple employees, but I'm essentially a one-person operation with some help.
And Becky, you have help from the person in your lap?
Yes, he's the manager. This is Pappy.
I got one of those too.
This is Paparoo. Mr. Pappy. Pepperoni. He's my
now, I will
special
say
boy.
I've had some trouble hiring a second assistant lately. I've had people who I hired them. They called off sick the next day and quit the next day. So they were hired, called off sick, and quit in 30 hours. That was impressive. I've had people hired who didn't show up. I had people show up for a week and they didn't come back. And then I hired Norma. And Norma started Monday, and then I was off for 2 days. She came back today, and I love her already. We're talking the first day, and she mentioned she's a deadhead, and she looks nothing and smells nothing like a deadhead. And she had a jacket on. She takes off her jacket and pulls up her sleeve, and she has the skull tattooed on her bicep. But that's the only tattoo I can see. I go, dang, you are a deadhead. And I said, if you put the two of us together and said, which one's the Spice Girl fan and which one's the deadhead, no one would ever get the answer right. So what I loved about her today is she came in and said, hey, on May 1st, is it possible to start a little bit later? And I'm like, why are we already talking? We're just in the middle of April, May 1st. And I go, well, yeah, I'm very lackadaisical when it comes to hours, really. I'm like, what's up? And she goes, well, Mickey Hart's band and Bob Weir's band, 2 members of the Grateful Dead, are playing a show together in San Francisco. So her and her girlfriend are driving from Vegas to San Francisco, seeing the show, and then driving back the next day. I'm like, dang. I go, why don't you just take Monday off and enjoy San Fran for another day? And she goes, oh, I already told my friend, I said, I just got this job. I can't ask for a day off already. And I'm like, oh, I think you're going to work out just fine. Plus, I said, my wife and I just drove to Salt Lake City 12 hours to see a concert. So of all the things you need a time off for, a concert out of town is totally cool.
Well, that's another thing about being a lister like this. We don't have to keep office hours, traditional office hours. Yep. And we're like, giving Norma that time off. It's a lot easier to be flexible,
And so apparently people don't know what deadheads smell like. And as Becky said, they smell like patchouli and body odor because they don't use deodorant. And I'm not disparaging deadheads. That's just how they smell.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because that's the CD that I sent yesterday. Was Grateful Dead.
It's a small world after. So, Alan, do you set yourself goals for either, okay, I need to get this many things listed this month, or I need this much sales this month, or this much of an increase over last month?
I will do that. Sometimes I'll create listing challenges for myself. If I feel like I'm lagging a little bit in listings, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to list 100 eBay items this weekend. So I will do that. And I know, like on Secret Beach and Thrifting Board, we've had those challenges too. So I love stuff like that. I love being challenged and want to try to get listings as well. But generally, no, I'm pretty self-motivated, and you absolutely have to be if you're going to be doing this full time.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know if I don't list things, I'm not going to be selling things. So it's I'm pretty self-motivated, but I love the listing challenges to give me an extra push.
So go ahead, Beck. Go ahead,
I was going to ask, do you have sales in your store? Do you have best offer on? What do you do?
Best offer, yes, because you know what? It takes me almost no time to respond to a best offer. I've got eBay app on my phone. I could be doing that on the phone. That's another thing I see a lot. Like people are like, oh, I'm just going to decline everything. And it's like, I tend not to decline. I put a counter offer, and I've converted some ridiculous offers into sales. So I don't see why I would decline that or not use that. I think best offer and sending offers to customers, that was a game changer as well. That's produced so many sales. I love that feature. And so I send those out every day. What was the other question that you asked about running sales? Yeah. I'll run sales. I mean, my favorite way to run them is increasing the percentage off based on age of inventory. So, the newer stuff, no, but something that's been listed like 120 days, I'll start off at a certain percentage, and I'll run those occasionally. I don't run those regularly, but I do run them though.
Cool.
So do you have items still listed for 12 years?
No. One of the things that I will do is actually that's not true. I do have an item that's listed for 12 years. It's on Amazon because it's a little bit easier. It's like a stereographic, which is the view slides, the Viewmaster slides. It's like a book from the 1960s. I think my wife found it at her work in a trash can.
Oh, wow.
And there were like 6 of them. I sold one about 12 years ago for like $300, and I just sold one this past year for like $200. I have a couple more listed, so that's an every 12-year sale. But that's usually not what's going to happen. I mean, right now I've got a project. I think my oldest listed item on eBay at the moment is from 2020. So I will go through some of my old listings. Sometimes I will just end them and relist them if they've been that old. Sometimes I'm just going to pull them. Like, well, if this hasn't sold for like $15 in 2 years, I'm not keeping it in inventory. So it just depends. But I actually generally don't have items listed for 12 years, although there are exceptions.
April wants to know, do you use a cross-listing tool?
Well, as I said, I have two eBay stores, and on one of the stores I do, it's mostly my media store. So I've been using a company called Monsoon Works all the way back since 2007, and that does that cross list to Amazon, eBay, Alibris. It used to do Barnes & Noble. I don't think it does Barnes & Noble anymore. It used to do half.com. There's several other marketplaces. It's a pricey service, but it's awesome. And the thing I like about it, which is missing from a lot of the cross-posting services, is that when something sells, it removes items from inventory from everywhere that it does. It's all automated. I just have to make sure that my computer is up and running. So I do use it for that. On my other eBay account, I don't. I know there are lots of options out there to do it, but it's the lack of automatic removing of inventory. And I'm a little bit concerned that it's going to create problems. I do some manual cross listings, like with media. I do a lot of bulk lots just because I buy large collections sometimes. So I'll sell bulk lots. And so I manually cross list that between eBay and Facebook Marketplace. And it's, just between the two places, it'll be easy to remove one if the other sells. But I'm still looking. If I can find something that would let me do Mercari, Poshmark, lots of other Facebook marketplaces, but has the total package of removing stuff that's sold, I would completely look into that. I use InkFrog for listing on eBay, and that's awesome just because, let's say I'm selling video game accessories. Well, I don't necessarily need to take a picture of every controller. Just, a controller is a controller as long as it's in good condition. So I can look at something that I sold like a year ago and just reactivate that listing. Whereas on eBay, that stuff disappears after 3 months, I think.
Yeah.
And bless you, Becky.
Oh, well, Mr. Pappy thanks you because it was him.
Do you use FBA on Amazon, or are you merchant fulfill?
Well, I did. I ran the story on there is actually through most of my time, Amazon has actually been my larger marketplace with media. That's kind of makes sense. And I was heavy into FBA. In 2019, I ended up getting suspended on Thanksgiving Day, so perfect for a Christmas season. In 2019, Amazon suspended me, and the reason they suspended me was too many products that I had sold were getting damaged in transit. Well, they were getting damaged in transit because they were FBA and they did a crappy job of
Wow.
packaging my items. And when I suggested that, because I was talking to one of their support agents, they're like, "You can't say that." So I spent I got reinstated, I think, almost a month later, so right after Christmas, actually.
Wow.
But I every day I would send in a new plan of action, and it would get rejected. I think I went through about 20 of those,
Dang.
and I finally got accepted. So yay! But at that point, I had pulled. It cost me a lot of money to get everything shipped back to me. But I decided two things. One is that I no longer trusted Amazon to ship my items. So everything I no longer do FBA, and I did a significant amount of FBA business because in theory it's great. I mean, you just put a
Yeah.
slap a label on it, you send it to them, and it's like I go on vacation and people are still buying my stuff, but in practice, it kind of sucked. And when I saw that 5% increase this week in the news, I'm like, well, that doesn't apply to me anymore. But the second thing is, you know, being an Amazon seller is difficult. I see all these people complain about eBay, but they have no idea what it's like on Amazon because even probably pretty insignificant to eBay on Amazon, I'm less than insignificant. They don't care. Amazon's too big. So I decided at that point, even if I worked my way out of it, I'm going to reorder things and not depend on Amazon so much. So I went from probably about 60% of my sales being on Amazon at the beginning of that year. At the end of the year, it was less than 20%. And I
That's
feel better. I mean, eBay, I feel like I do have concierge, so that definitely helps a lot with the customer service aspect of it. But it makes me feel
Not
like,
when you're trying to sell a Tori Amos cassette, it don't.
yeah, okay,
true.
fair. That's fair. But generally, they've been pretty amazing. But they actually make me feel like a person though. Whereas Amazon's like, I mean,
Yeah,
I'd still sell there because it makes sense. But yeah,
I did FBA too for a while, but getting back to cross posting, if it's not working on Amazon, I move it over to Discogs and over to eBay, and then eventually, if it's not working, I trade it in at a record store. And so to have it always in front of me is so much easier to me. And I know how to ship, and we ship better than Amazon because we don't get those complaints.
yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, Discogs has been great. I've really enjoyed getting into Discogs, and I found kind of a niche marketplace on there, which is
Yeah,
good.
wait until, when the Thrifty business rolls back around. Wait till you see my cassette sales because it comes with an awesome story, and you'll be like, "I'm sorry, how much did you sell those cassettes for in Discogs?" It's gonna be one of those. It's like what? So I don't think we any have one place, but Mark wants to know, where do you frequently source your media?
It just depends. I mean, I'll sometimes find stuff one at a time. In the past, like when Blockbuster Video in Hollywood was going out of business, I was sort of the end buyer on a lot of those stores, so I did a lot of that. What the biggest purchase I ever had was a software distribution company went out of business, and I literally bought a warehouse full of software, like 100,000 pieces. So that was a
You
big
sound
one.
like Brian does shit like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big. That one took a while to get rid of. I did well with that one, but just wherever I can, you keep you know. Sometimes I've gone to garage sales where I've seen some amazing collections and then made offers and come away with thousands of items. So it all depends. What I don't like to do is, and this would definitely be I won't do this again, is I don't like to go to distributors and buy wholesale lots of media. Two of my worst purchases were done that way. One was probably a bad timing thing. So you remember when HD, DVD, and Blu-ray were trying to fight it out as who was dominant? So I purchased a huge load of HD DVD from a distributor because the price
Wow.
dropped. But so as the stuff is in transit to me is when HD DVD announced that they were basically discontinuing. So
They lost that battle in like 6 months. It
it
was,
was it was fast. It was fast.
yeah.
So I get my stuff, and all of a sudden the prices are like, "Ooh." So I I I got most of my money back on that purchase, which I was happy about. And another one was like a big UFC buy, UFC DVDs, the fighting stuff. And I made this again. I made a large purchase, different company, um, and it's like literally as soon as I got it, it was just it must have some wholesaler must have just released large quantities of it. So I don't trust that. I don't trust that anymore. I've seen even with used DVDs and stuff. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is just going to be sorted through and picked through. And so
You got a large load of beta tapes coming?
I would love to have a lunch with them, Katie. Oh my gosh, I went to a garage sale this past summer, and the person literally said they had a warehouse, not a warehouse, but a storage locker full of beta tapes. And it's like, but they were hoarders, but they weren't ready to sell it. And
You start to salivate, and they're like, I don't want to sell it. I'm like, oh.
yeah, oh my gosh, I still hope they contact me. I of course gave them my information, but yeah, I would love. I mean, VHS is just shocking to me. I think I sold like a MTV Celebrity Deathmatch unopened VHS tape a couple months ago for $150.
Nice.
Just crazy what some of that VHS stuff is going for.
All right. Well, speaking of, let's end the show with your scores and duds. But before I have one more question. In honor of this, when I say this, I mean Becky's hair.
Oh,
Wow.
Because I know exactly. So, Alan, when's the last time you've had a full head of hair? I know my year.
That would probably be like around the time I started eBay. So maybe like it was starting to fall out by 1997, but maybe 1994 or 1995.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my last full head of hair was about 98. Mother Nature is just a cruel bitch. Because look, Al, look at this. She's now taunting us. Look at this.
what? It's just I wake up like this, and this is what it does.
Yeah, I don't think I've used a hairbrush since Bill Clinton was president. So
Yeah, I'll say I still do though, because I brush up my beard every morning, and then as the day goes on, I have a little one in the car to clean it up. So yeah, I didn't give up the maintenance, but you're like, I got no maintenance at all.
yeah.
Yes. Well, eBay leads to hair loss for us, not Becky apparently.
Yeah, no, my beard's coming in pretty good too. Do you use beard oil on that thing?
I do, but today I didn't. And as we're getting ready for the show, I'm like, ooh, it's a little wild right now. I gotta tame this bad boy down. Oh yes, I do miss my hair every once in a blue moon, but most time I'm like, yeah, I like having a round head with no maintenance. It's so easy. Life is easy.
Yeah,
I've just gotten used to it. It's okay. I'm all good.
All right, let's do your duds and scores, and then we will skedaddle into the evening.
Yeah, that's a dud. I've had this listed for a very long time. I mean, I wasn't into it very much money, but I'm just kind of shocked that as cool as this is, nobody's buying it. So I don't get it.
And I saw this. I think because it is nothing specific, it's just if it was one of the specific games that people are like, oh my God, that was my favorite game. That's where you might get the action, but because it's fairly generic, I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Come on. There we go.
So this one is an interesting one. So I purchased, it was actually at a garage sale, a very large quantity of girls' Nike shorts and pants and stuff. And my buy price per item ended up being about 25 cents. So you may say, why is something that I paid $2.50 for a dud when I sold it for $70? And the reason is the stuff is selling slower than I had hoped it would sell for. And if you have like 4,000 pairs of shorts that are all pretty similar, it takes up a lot of space. So it's only a dud, it's going to be a moneymaker at the end. I think what I'm going to have to do is switch gears and then do large wholesale lots of this, and it will sell because it's Nike, but it's just not selling fast enough, which is why I consider it a dud.
maybe put one pair on a hot model, male and or female or both.
Mhm.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
And, you know, have just two sexy people standing in the field, look like they're about to do something athletic, and then
Yeah.
people have that visualization of like, I can look that cute.
Yeah, these are shorts though for like 9 to 14-year-old girls. So I don't know if that's.
Oh, okay. Now it just got creepy. I missed that part. My bad.
Yeah, no, that's probably not the right way to
You
go.
just go to the park and ask little girls to try on shorts. You know, it's fine. You know, it's fine.
I mean, if they were women's shorts, sure.
And we just went down a weird path. Okay. Moving on. I got shorts and some candy, little girl. Come on over here.
Okay, so this is a vintage software. That stuff has come back really big. I don't remember what my actual sell price was. I think it was a few $100s, but just something I picked up along the way, and it happened to be sealed. And I think this is from 1988. It has like the little 3.5-inch, I think probably, and the big floppy disks in them as well. Software is huge. Definitely don't want to pass that up. One of my favorite ones, it was a couple years ago now, but it was just a box and the manual from the original Microsoft Office. Like,
Oh, wow.
3.0.
Wow.
If I had the software, it would have sold for probably about $800. I probably sold it for a couple $100 just for the box and the manual.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, so
Yep.
keep an eye on software. It's amazingly good. Okay, this is kind of a. So I purchased this as part of a bulk lot, so I'm practically in it for nothing. And most of these computers are sort of as is, not working very well. This just happened to be a rare one. I mean, I think it weighed like 25 pounds or something. It was a monster.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was huge and it was heavy, but it was in demand. And I sold this for $200 full price, very quickly too, maybe within a week of listing, plus the shipping. So sometimes there's, I do okay with dead electronics sometimes, and this is one of those things where, in fact, I just sold a computer today. It had no battery, just as is. It sold for I think $25 plus plus shipping on it. So
Nice. Let's go to this one.
okay, this is an Amazon sale, and this is one of I continually hear Jason say, sometimes you put money into items to get money. And so this was one of those examples. This is a Lone Ranger collector's edition. It was basically in a large format like a booklet, and it had every single episode of Lone Ranger. I'm pretty sure I paid 100, maybe 150 at most for this, but it sold very quickly for $600.
Wow.
Yes. Do you believe?
Amen, Jesus. That's amazing.
That was a great sale.
Yeah.
But
All
my
right,
next
but
one is better.
speaking of great sales, let's end with this craziness.
So this is something that I only had listed for a couple of days before I took an offer of $1,800 on it. So I went to a garage sale, and there was a collection of mostly sports cards, some Pokemon cards too. And looking through it, it's mostly junk. Although I did find some amazing things in there. So, but when I was going through this, I actually saw a book with a Michael Jordan autograph on it. So I knew that there had to be some gems in here, even though most of what I was seeing was not mint condition 80s and 90s baseball and basketball cards. And so I found this in an envelope, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting because it's the 1992 NBA draft. It's the year that Shaquille O'Neal was drafted as first choice. So I went to research this and didn't find anything. I could not find anything. I found tickets from the 1993 draft that sold for about $100 or $200. I don't even remember who went in the 93 draft. But in 92, with Shaquille O'Neal and Alonzo Mourning, and the fact that I saw nothing, I figured this had to be something. So I just put it out there at $2,500. I initially started getting some offers at $500, $1,000. It's like, okay, well, this is definitely something. And so I ended up with an $1,800 offer, and I'm thinking if I had underpriced this tremendously, it would have sold within 5 minutes. So it was on for I think about 48 hours before I sold it. So I was pretty confident that I did not underprice this, and so I got that $1,800 offer, and they paid for it. It's been received. So I paid $300 for the entire collection of sports cards, and I actually sold another autographed item in that collection for $150. So this was an amazing buy. And if you look at it just by looking at mostly what I saw, it looked like junk. So the significance of this ticket is that and if you look at some of the game used tickets, some have gone, it's kind of like the new thing in sports cards, sports collectibles.
Yep.
Those have gotten really big. In fact, I had purchased a lifetime ticket collection from Portland Trailblazers for not very much money a few years ago. I had a packet of tickets sitting on my desk. I should have brought it out with me. And my friend's like, "This is a Michael Jordan ticket," and it was from 1984. It was within 1 month of his starting his basketball career. I found something similar, which was graded and authenticated, listed on eBay for $25,000. So I put mine up for $10,000. I haven't sold it. I've gotten some offers that are really low, but tickets are important to look for because people collect based on if it's a game used ticket. This isn't. This is the NBA draft. So this was when Shaquille O'Neal was taken by the Orlando Magic as a basketball player from college. But if you have a ticket from a game like Kobe's first game, some of those tickets go for insane amount of money. And so, again, I'm in the Portland area, and this draft took place in Portland, which is why I found the ticket. So you want to take a look at garage sales. If you see some game used tickets, even concert tickets, tickets have become pretty big.
Oh, yeah. I have a box here. I got to figure out where I put it. It's got about 2,000 concert ticket stubs in it for my whole life. So I think, they've been in a box my entire life. It's fun having them, but, I think it'd be more fun to have the money. So
yeah.
I think it's time to start pulling them out, and maybe I'll digitize them. But I did want to point out that the person who went, they paid $4 to go to the event, and then all these years later, you sold it for was it $1,800?
$1,800. Yep. Yeah, I ran into that.
That's better than gold.
Back in the day, like back in the 80s at swap meets, I actually picked up a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookie card for $0.25. And I kept it all these years. I actually got it graded back in the 90s, and it was never worth a whole lot of money. I think I was like looking. It's literally been sitting in a box in my house here for like 18 years. And so I think I was showing my daughter this, and I said, "I'll take a look and see what it's selling for." I ended up selling it for $1,400.
Dang.
I mean, it's a neat card and all, but it literally had been sitting in a box for 18 years. So yeah, I cashed it out.
That's crazy.
Awesome. All right, look, between Becky's stuff and my stuff and Alan's stuff, you saw such a variety tonight. Things that if you haven't been looking at, thinking about, you should. Because yes, conquer what you know, and then pay attention to my show and pay attention to the Thrifting Board and the Secret Beach, the other things that those of us who share, because there is crazy money. When you're at a garage sale, there's more stuff to get besides just the stuff that you know well. So keep that in mind when you are outsourcing. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Alan and Beck, thank you for A, tonight, obviously, but B, hanging out with me on Sunday when I had a catastrophe with my computer. I felt like my mom all of a sudden. And I took the computer in today, earlier this afternoon, and the guys were in diagnostics, and he just kept doing this. Oh, that's not good.
Uh-oh.
So I know where this is headed. But, we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so don't forget, Easter is Sunday. So Mom and I are not going to do Sunday. We are going to do Monday, same time, same channel, this channel, 7 o'clock East Coast, 4 o'clock West Coast. And then next Thursday, I'll be back with how to list on Mercari. All right? So, Alan, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Have a wonderful evening. Becky, and what's your cat's name?
Mr. Pappy.
Mr. Pappy, thank you for being a silent co-host, except for that cute little sneeze. Yes, I did have a backup, Tom, and the guy asked me, I go, yep, I got a backup, so I ain't so worried. Wipe it clean. Let's get it fixed. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, and give, if nothing else, if you don't like Alan, don't like me, give Becky's hair a thumbs up. I mean, come on.
Right? I mean, how can you be mad at this?
I mean, that is just the most epic hair ever. So, yes, give her a thumbs up, and if you're new, give us a follow, and click that little bell. Let you know we're going live, and with that, I'm out of here. See y'all. Have a great weekend. Have a happy Easter, and we'll see you on Monday night.
Bye.
Woo-hoo!